Ladies beyond flying and also gentlemen, a warm welcome from cold Berlin today, 4 degrees, but we can sniff a little bit spring already. My name is Daniel Stecher. I'm Vice President Airline Operations, IBS Software, and I'm the host and facilitator of Ladies Beyond Flying monthly aviation women panel. And today we have a big honor. Our first guest speaker from Down Under, Emma Taylor from Virgin Australia, is telling us a little bit more how digital transformation works down under. So we have around about 45 to 60 minutes, and potentially, Emma, you want to have the questions at the end of your session, or can the audience ask questions in between? What is your preference?
I'm really keen to have participation as we go along. So, feel free to. I'm not sure how you usually manage it, Daniel, with sticking your hand up or just jumping in. I'm fine either way.
So then I suggest everybody from the ladies and the gentlemen just use raise your hand feature from MS Teams, and then I will nicely cut into your presentation, and then we will ask the questions. You can, of course, everybody can type in questions also in the chat notes, which might encourage other attendees to also ask questions, but I will always encourage you to verbally raise your questions. So stage is yours, Emma. Let's have fun.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I was just sharing with Daniel before, if you are joining from down under, and I'm in Brisbane, and I think a few of my colleagues will be from Brisbane as well. Pretty hot here today. I think maybe in the 30 degrees Celsius. In Queensland, where I come from, our houses, they say, are made to breathe. If you live in an old Queenslander, and we say it's like living in a wooden tent. Very, very hot and sweaty there. So probably the opposite of you today, Daniel. I am going to be talking about digital transformation down under today, but I'm pretty sure digital transformation, wherever it's coming from, has very much similar from all spaces. We don't turn things upside down from the other side of the world, and I'm hoping that some of my personal stories and lessons that I share today might resonate with you as well. But as I said, I'm keen for people to jump in and ask questions, and also feel open to share some of their experiences as well as we go along. So today I'm just going to I'm going to share a little bit about myself, and then go through some of the lessons that I've learned. I'll tell you a little bit about our transformation journey at Virgin Australia. Can you see my slides still, Daniel?
Not yet. No, you have to restart the show.
Hang on. I have to restart. That's right.
Now we see it, setting the scene.
Perfect. Take you through some of my personal lessons and share a bit about the journey we've been on at Virgin Australia. And then, keen to hear some of your stories as well as we go, or at the end if you feel more comfortable doing so. So who am I? I mostly have spent I've spent a lot of my time in either the financial service industry or with around aeroplanes. My family has a big passion for flying and for aeroplanes. My brothers are pilots, and my first real job out of university was with Qantas, our other iconic Australian airline, as a systems analyst. And that's where I really picked up the love of the airline industry. Qantas, you may or may not be familiar with how the industry works down here, but all our airlines are either public companies or privately owned. And through my journey at Qantas, we did a big outsourcing exercise for our IT, and that's when I moved into financial services. And I spent a long time working there with various banks and superannuation insurance companies. When I moved from Sydney to Brisbane in 2016, I was very fortunate enough to land this amazing role that I have now with Virgin Australia as the head of technology. And I've been with Virgin for almost 2 years now. I report through to the CIO, and I have a number of different teams that kind of span both a business and business partnering and project delivery side, but also a strategy and architecture and very technical side of things. So I have the Digital Engineering and Agile Centre of Excellence. I have a digital production operations team, integration, process and automation. So there is a lot going on in my space, and I absolutely love it. Also, proud mother of two little Aussies, Molly and Henry. They're aged 10 and 11. Keep me very busy. My son is a cricket nut, and we spend plenty of long, hot hours in the summer playing, watching, and talking about cricket. My daughter, she loves swimming and netball. But yes, so very busy lifestyle, but loving every minute of it. I thought, since I'm talking about digital transformation, I thought it might be a good idea to have a think about what that really means. I think digital in itself is a bit of a, I don't know, maybe a blurry term, but transformation certainly means a lot of different things to lots of people. So I've put some definitions here that I found from Googling on the internet, and they're all slightly different. My favourite one is from Gartner, because it, for me as an IT nerd and IT professional, it encompasses a lot of things. And digital has really been used as a term that we use to cover things like moving to cloud or doing apps or doing more things online for our customers. So that one's kind of my favourite, but you can see they're all a little bit different. The Wikipedia one uses digital and digitize and digital many, many times in its definition. So I feel like it loses some meaning. But the statistics that I put on the right-hand side, I also found very interesting, because if you have a look at those, 60% of the leading CEOs have focused strategy on digital transformation, 75%, digital first strategy, 89%, and 91% of global businesses are engaged in some form of digital initiative. That sounds like almost everyone seems to be doing something that is digital or transformative in some way. And this is not specific to the airline industry, but globally. And I don't know if any of you are on this transformation journey within your companies, but the transformation journey that we've been on at Virgin Australia has been very fast and very full on, exhausting at times. And so when I looked at these statistics, I thought there must be a lot of very tired, exhausted workers out there if, between 70 to 90% of our organisations are involved in some kind of digital transformation. A little bit about our transformation at Virgin. And with this one, please do jump in if you have any questions, if you want to drill into anything in a little bit more detail. But I've been at Virgin for about 2 years, and about 2 years ago, this was when we commenced on our 6-year transformation journey at Virgin. So a couple of years ago, Virgin went into administration and was purchased by a private equity company quite early, or at the start of COVID, which was really fortunate for someone joining a company during that time, because we were fortunate enough to have a private equity backing with a significant amount of investment into building up our business ready for when COVID, or the impacts of COVID, started to decline. So we focused the investment, I think I've mentioned there, about $300 million was part of the purchase agreement by our private equity company. And we chose to focus that investment in 4 key areas. So the commercial space, our customer and member technologies, looking internally into our people and organisational operational excellence, and looking at our technology capability and technology debt, because over the past decade, maybe even more, there'd been a significant underinvestment in technology in our organisation. So the focus for us during that time was really about what do we need to be able to do to relaunch Virgin Australia as a profitable and viable airline in the Australian marketplace. Now, probably things are a little bit different in Australia compared to, say, the US or Europe. We really only have, you could say, 2 key players in the market. We have Qantas and we have Virgin. There's Jetstar, the Qantas subsidiary, which is a no-frills, and then we have some of our regional airlines as well, like Alliance. And so the market is very small, if you like, and very tight. So we had to kind of, well, firstly, $300 million is a lot of money to be fortunate to be able to spend on an airline. So really, for us, that meant pretty much upgrading or replacing every single piece of technology we'll touch over the 6-year roadmap that we've put together, except for our core passenger system, which we are still within contract with Sabre on that, and we will keep. But yeah, we've done, so far we're 2 years in, and we've done some amazing things already. Like we've replaced our loyalty management system for Velocity, which is our loyalty program. We have stood up a new business flyer or corporate small and medium enterprise program. I think they said that was like the record for the shortest amount of time that an SME program, a new platform, has been stood up and successfully launched. So that was quite an achievement for us. We did a full overhaul of our fares and pricing. So everything used to be very tightly bundled up, and we've started to break apart our products so that we can give our customers more choice about where they want to spend their money. And of course, our legacy technology that we've had to deal with. Probably another massive call out has been our investment in digital and our digital engineering and digital practices. So we've fully replaced our website, and we've fully replaced and are still working on our Virgin Australia and Velocity frequent flyer apps. We're up to a position now where we're almost doing releases every single day on our app, mobile app and website, which is a massive achievement. We have built up from, I think, maybe 1 or 2 squads to 8 to 12, flexing depending on where we're prioritising our effort. Our technology workforce has grown by 163 people just in the past 12 months, and that's just for IT. And so we've done a lot of effort in refreshing the team and bringing in the required skills and working on our partnering approaches, because being able to deliver this much change in a rapid amount of time is not a fully insourced workforce. We have had to be very specific about where we'll partner for support on some of our complex projects.
Emma, I have a question here. The 4 topic areas here: commercial, customer, operations, technology. Is it an even share that all of these 4 have a 25% budget on the 300 million, or you have some more investments in one and the other? And also, have you done an analysis by investing into the one item you have also leverage and the multiply effect on other areas which are mentioned here?
We've been taking an adaptive approach. So initially, the investment was heavily skewed towards technology. So we knew that the constraints we had around our legacy platforms would constrain any investment that we would put into any of the other areas. So initially, our roadmap focused on prioritizing projects that would build platforms and upgrade technology. So we built a new intelligent data platform, a new customer data platform, new integration platform, so moving to microservices and data streaming. The agile squads moved everything to the cloud, a private and public cloud, and then over time we've built a prioritization framework, and as we go through, we changed the weightings on the framework. So according to where our board and our executive team want us to, I guess, channel the investment. So we prioritize on things like enablement, so which projects are enabling other projects to succeed. We prioritize on benefits, so which ones are going to impact our bottom line the most, and most of those sit within the commercial space. And we focus on another prioritization lever is around our customer value proposition, which is kind of linked to commercial, but what do our customers, from the surveying that we're doing, what do our customers really want to see? And then, of course, from an operations point of view, we're really keen on keeping our cost base at an acceptable level so that we can offer the products and services that our customers want at a commercially viable position. So it changes, and we reevaluate that probably every 6 months.
And have you benchmarked your ideas and initiatives with an other airline, a role model airline, which you try to replicate, or have you benchmarked with other industries where you pick and choose what you could maybe implement at Virgin Australia?
We have done a couple of different approaches to benchmarking. One of the approaches we took was firstly within the Australian market. We looked at where organisations of a similar size, again, with the only maybe one or two airlines, it's difficult to benchmark within industry in Australia. So we would look at overall where organisations are investing their money and how much of the overall revenue or profit are they investing into IT specifically. We also did look at benchmarking worldwide across where airlines are investing their money. But what we found was obviously the airline industry and travel industry was severely impacted by COVID. And so we kind of had to look back and pick a benchmark that was pre-COVID and try and focus on that, because we were in that unique position around having some money to spend while perhaps others weren't so fortunate at that time. But yeah, benchmarking was important part of the prioritization for us.
Anna, you have a nice question for Emma, if you'd like to ask it verbally.
Sorry, it takes forever to unmute, doesn't it? Sometimes. There we go. Hi, Emma. Yeah, sorry about that. I find it so interesting. Why do you think that? What was the reason why Virgin Australia? I mean, like so many other airlines, typical traditional airlines, I mean, I can list probably 25 on, right away, had so much technology debt and, didn't invest for years and years and years and years in technology. Actually, never really kept up with the most basic stuff that you had to. Do you have any thoughts on that? I know you've only worked for 2 years there, but, be interesting.
Yeah, I think there's a number of factors at play. One of them, which I think is really important, and people probably talk about it a lot, but it's like the forced digitization due to COVID.
Yes.
And there's a lack of, you don't go into the shop anymore, or people are using their devices more, and so all of that is enabled by technology. And then we have also seen this amazing shift between where our customers are actually buying now. I think prior to COVID, our indirect channel, I'm not 100% sure of the figures, but it was something like 60 to 70% of our customers purchase through our indirect channel. And now it's totally flipped the other way. Yes. And that's about 70% are direct with us. And to be able to do that, you've got to have fast integration. You've got to have data. People expect things to be personalized. I think it's been a really rapid shift in customer expectations that has forced the industry to try and catch up.
Thanks, Emma. You've confirmed my own theory. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Lakshmi, you have a nice question also for Emma.
Yeah, thanks, Tanya. So, hi, Emma. This is Lex. I'm Adelaide-based,
Hello.
by the way. So I do have a question. You mentioned that's a 300 million technology project and 6-year IT roadmap with 4 major areas to cover, and your budget skewed towards technology. It's always like that. But I'm more interested in knowing how you ensure that change readiness. Definitely, when you're going for the transformation project, the change resistance is something that the management has to overcome. And how did you ensure that we had the change readiness and mitigated the risk?
Yeah, I think change is sometimes underestimated in transformation, especially when it's really fast paced. But credit must be given to our project delivery office, which was also another capability that's been stood up for VA in the past 2 years. And with that, an amazing change practice has been incorporated into that project delivery office. So the team have stood up some frameworks and tools that enable us to assess how big a change is, or like a change impact assessment. Which areas are you going to impact? How saturated is that area already with change? And so that feeds into our sequencing and prioritization of projects as well. So it's really been recognised as a capability within itself, and we've brought on quite a number of really amazing and talented change people into our organisation.
Thanks, Emma, because I'm currently working on change management. One of the tasks I do is preparing the entire technology team for UAT. So it's change management for UAT, and many people are like very new to that term or the concept. So I'm like building that concept up, the framework, and then building it from the scratch. So just wanted to know.
Yeah, and anyway, it can be challenging. I think one of the challenges that we found as well was there was almost like this attitude initially around, well, you're going to deliver the change to us, so we don't really need to do anything as a business. But when it comes to the business subject matter expertise and being available for, UAT and post-implementation testing and all that kind of stuff, it really sometimes is underestimated by our business how much effort and commitment they need to provide.
I agree with you 100%. Thanks,
Yeah,
Emma.
There
no
is a
problem.
question from Paul in Dublin, and then we have another Paul in Singapore. So let's go to Dublin first.
Thank you, Daniel. Hi, Emma. Nice to,
Hi.
thank you for sharing. I had a question on your one order roadmap. Quite familiar with that. It's hard to make a business case for one order, much more difficult than retailing and the offer side. So there's the whole potentially running parallel systems during this transition phase. There's cost, there's risk associated with that for an airline, and we all know that airlines in general are a little bit risk averse, to say the least. So I'm interested in your view on one order and what benefits you see it will bring specifically to your airline. Working together with your partners. It's not much use going one order on your own when you've got to deal with a whole suite of partners that are still working on legacy. And then I guess in general, kind of what do you see as the benefits for the industry for one order?
Really great question. And I think the fact that we've just said one order roadmap tells you that we don't have all the answers to those questions yet. We know that it is a direction that the industry is heading in. We're still very much at the start of our NDC and kind of next gen retailing journey. But we know that very quickly this one order concept is going to come up. So at this point in time, we're still grappling with all of those questions that you've just asked. How viable is it? Where does it fit into the commercial strategy? When is the right time to start doing that? For instance, we're just about to, hopefully within the first half of this calendar year, go live with our NDC APIs to sell, to do, bypass the GDS, et cetera. But at this point in time, there aren't many partners in our ecosystem who are using NDC. So the one order vision for us, I feel, is still a very, very long way away. It is something that I would really love for someone to do a big topic on. I'd be really keen to understand what the thinking was there. But at this point, it's just we know we need to think about it and come up with a plan.
Thank you for sharing.
Sorry, Paul.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, it's not too dissimilar to what we are hearing in general. So don't be dismayed because you're not unique in that position.
Excellent.
And maybe we have something for you next week, but I will come back to you, Emma, on that because 7, 8, and 9 February, maybe mark your calendar. There's something which could help you for the roadmap. Janet, I think a good question from South Africa. Before Paul in Singapore, I'm not forgetting you, Paul.
Hi, everybody. So the question I have really is just something that's been sparked by my experience with my clients, where they're talking a lot about digital transformation. And one of the key challenges seems to be legacy systems. So legacy programming systems, legacy totally unintegrated systems. And how have you dealt with that? I'm really curious.
I think the part of it was luck around timing. So whilst people were shut up in their homes during COVID and not much traveling going on, we probably spent about 18 months getting rid of all that legacy. And it's not all gone. We still have a lot to migrate onto our new platforms, but we've been building entirely new stuff because all the stuff that we had was so old. For example, I look after integration. Our integration platform was 10, 15 years old, unsupported for about 8. Old style kind of service-orientated architecture. We've put in a new platform which is microservice based, all our gateways, Kafka for data streaming, and we're going through a process now of migrating all the old stuff on. Similar story to the data platforms, but I guess there's different strategies about how to tackle it. If things are so old, upgrades are usually probably not the greatest idea, and you need to build new and migrate. But we were very fortunate that we kind of had that downtime to be able to focus on enablement, capability building, and new platforms.
Let's go to Singapore, Paul.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Hi, Emma. I was just curious, being an ex-Aussie, are you having any issues with union intervention? Because quite often change means unions want to know what's going to happen, etc., etc. If so, how are you overcoming that?
Great question. I don't work very closely in the operations space, but I was mentioning to Daniel before, possibly again for us being in a fortunate situation of going into administration and coming back out and being in a position to be able to simplify our enterprise agreements for our staff. I think we had something before like 25 different enterprise agreements across cabin crew and pilots, and through this opportunity, being able to rationalise that, we have been very fortunate. We haven't had as much, I guess, time in the news or noise as some of our partners have around union action. I think part of that is about the Virgin culture, or the flair, or the way we treat our people. But yeah, also just through that exercise of being able to simplify the business.
One more question from Sweden, and interestingly, Anne has a book and she wants to know something out of her book. Anne.
I have a book?
Yeah, you said Jetstar in my book and so on. You talk about your book.
Oh, in my book? No, it's an expression. Sorry, Daniel. Yeah, and I consider Jetstar to be one of the most impressive airlines actually in the world. And that they can do stuff on the fly. They can say, oh, you want a ticket time limit? That's no problem. We do that. I follow them quite closely, and I think they're technically very impressive. And of course, that has to do very much that they control their API to perfection, and they can really do with their API whatever they want, and work with any partner. They have also very, very quick implementations. So what importance? I mean, I hope that this is important to you, your own API and moving to API communications, and I would just like to hear your thoughts on that.
Oh, most certainly. That's been a major focus of ours over the past 2 years, and one of the drivers for putting in our new integration platform. I think as well, we have an amazing woman in charge of our digital engineering and agile centre of excellence, who kind of runs all our squads, who deal with, I guess, cross-functional teams they'll have API developers, they'll have front-end developers, all that kind of stuff, to really flexible, fast, always changing, always adapting. I think in the last 60 days of 2022, our team did 60 digital releases. So it's like a release every day. But most certainly, APIs, flexibility, and being able to respond to changes is very important to us. Yep.
Oh, that's good to hear. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I might move on. Thank you for all the questions and talk there. But I'm going to go through some of the 3 key lessons that I've learnt along the way over the past couple of years. And I hope that these either resonate with you in your experience, or maybe they'll act as a bit of a heads up for you if you're ever in this situation of really fast-paced whole of organisation transformation. The first lesson I've learnt is about our organisational identity. I've worked in other organisations undergoing transformation, and again, feels like every organisation is in transformation. But the thing that stood out most for me at the organisational level here is the importance of knowing what you're transforming to. So our board and our executive team and our management team, they've been very explicit about what our organisational identity is and the mission that we're on. Before Virgin Australia went into administration in late 2019, I think we were trying to compete across all products, head-to-head with Qantas, head-to-head with Jetstar. We had the Virgin Australia brand and the Tiger brand, so it was very much, you raise one, I'll raise you two type thing, and this led to a very high cost base for our organisation and products that really didn't make much commercial sense. So it's been really refreshing to see a very purposeful and clear mission and vision for our organisation, and I've just popped some points down there about why it's important to be clear on that. I do have a little video which I'm not sure, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to try it out, and I don't know, Daniel, if I'm supposed to be in IT, but if there's any kind of technical advice you can give me.
If you shared your entire screen, it should be visible. If you, of course, have only shared this PDF.
Okay.
But yeah, you see something allow, so it's popping up.
Okay,
Looks
let
good.
me allow. Oh, it's going to a different screen. Just give me a sec. I will share my other screen. Let me see. This one. This is our most recent kind of campaign, and I really love it. I think it encompasses a lot of the fun and flair of Virgin and our brand, and a lot of our people relate to it and identify with it. And I just wanted to play it for you tonight. There's probably some things in there or some tributes to Qantas that you may not get on the nuances, but I'll share it with you now. Let's see. Could you hear that, or do I need to share sound as well?
We see something. First of all, it's stopped now.
Could you hear anything just before?
No, not me.
No. Okay. Oh, see, this is where like the technology is like. Let me give it another go.
Is there a YouTube link? You could just send it to us afterwards, right, Emma?
I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I just posted it in the chat. That's probably better. Yeah.
When you come onto Teams, Daniel, there's normally an audio sharing button you need to tick box.
Yeah.
Copy link. I'll pop it in the chat. Feel free to.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Yeah.
Because that. Go back to where I was.
But if you are playing it and the sound comes out of your computer, then we should hear it via your microphone.
Oh, I've got my headset. I'll pop it in the chat. But yeah,
okay.
Please go and have a look. It's pretty fun. Okay. Oops. No, I'm not on the big thing anymore. Okay. Second lesson I wanted to share was about capability. Capability in my team specifically. I've put some little pictures on there. The second lesson that I'm taking away from this journey is that transformation is not really for everyone, and having the right people with the right skills in your team really makes a difference. I don't know about you, but I have this soft spot when it comes to people, and I love having close relationships and very personal relationships with my team, and I'm always wanting to give people the benefit of the doubt, or coach and mentor, or even I have a habit of taking on a lot of the load on top of my load from my team if I think it's too much for them. And this kind of taking on the selfless leader situation has been a very big learning for me, and I've learned through this experience it's not going to help me and it's not going to help my team on this really fast-paced transformation journey. I've put a couple of images there that I wanted to explain to you. The two sporting ones are very Australian, so you might not know what these are about, but the rowers in the middle, there's a person lying down and a person kind of hunched over. And this image is kind of iconic for Australians. It's the case of Lay Down Sally. In 2004, in the Athens Olympics, Sally was part of the rowing team, and she gave up mid-race. She just stopped rowing. That was it. The team could not win from there. So from that, I'm saying you don't want someone on your team who's either going to give up mid-journey or be rowing in the opposite direction. So make sure you look out for your team and make sure they're not going to be so fatigued that they lie down, but make sure you're clear on the expectations and the journey that you and your team are on. It is transformation for us at VA is fast and furious. There's ups and downs, and you need to make sure your team are aware that that's the journey they're on with you. Similar to that, the kind of every workplace team meme that you can see there. If you've only got limited spots on your team, you want to maximize the talent. So imagine if all those guys there, super, totally awesome, active contributors to help you achieve your KPIs, help you to drive this transformation through the organization. But there's only one guy who's doing most of the work there. Now, that one guy probably going to suffer a bit of burnout or lie down mid-race like Sally, get fatigued. So I think it's really important to make sure that you have your team, the team that you hire, helping you on the journey, but also helping each other and sharing the load. And the last image there, kind of on a slightly different note, but I think it speaks to the attitude of the team. So it's at VA, we have a lot of people in the organization who've been there for a long time, but we also have brought in a lot of new skills, and it's everyone is valuable to the journey that we're on. It's not about your age or your tenure or how much knowledge you have. It's about your attitude. So this guy, the guy who's kind of standing up there and everyone else has fallen down, he's known as the last man standing. His name is Stephen Bradbury, and in 2002, he won a gold medal in the Winter Olympics purely by continuing on, going from last, everyone else falling over, and being the one that won the race. So you want people on your team who have that kind of, I'm going to continue on, I'm going to keep going, I'm going to focus on my thing. It's the kind of attitude you want on your team. So it's been a very harsh learning because of that, the empathetic or the sympathetic people side that I have. But in order for you to achieve results, you need to make sure that you're set up for success with the capability that you have in your team as well.
Emma, I love this slide because it's talking about the human factor and not technology itself. It's exactly spot on. So does it mean you have also a very, very close working relationship with the Chief Human Resource Officer? You have initiated a special program for upskilling talent, also training people, filling some gaps they have in order to be exactly the right team members to achieving the goal?
Yeah, there's a lot of different factors in play. I think obviously we have our corporate people policies. We have a mental health and well-being program. We have our investment in our leadership programs and things like that. But something that, with the transformation being so fast-paced for us, it's been a very difficult choice between investing in training people versus just hiring in the skills that you need. We have a very high contingent or contractor workforce at this point in time. So we'll invest in our talent. We do talent mapping, and we look after the people who we really want to invest in the organisation. But a lot of the time, we don't have time to train or build skills in transformation. And so you really need to be, when you're hiring people, focusing on, do you have the right skills and the right attitude to help me be successful?
Jeanette has a wonderful question regarding the skills. Jeanette, maybe you want to ask her questions verbally.
Sure. So again, this is just from previous experience. I think in many IT departments particularly, they have found that they have many people whose skills are becoming redundant or obsolete, and who have not kept up with the changing demands. I would imagine you might have experienced that, and if so, how did you deal with it?
Yes, there's a difference. Well, there's a differentiation between, I guess, the talent or the long-term employees that you have in your organisation and their willingness or desire to learn new skills, versus the contractor workforce that you hire in for a specific task or a specific project to get stuff done. We're going through at the moment mapping out skills and career pathways for our people. That's taking some amount of time, but within our own teams, most certainly when we're delivering the projects that bring on a new capability, for example, our new data streaming platform will incorporate training and skills uplift into that project or that piece of work, so that our permanent staff and the staff we keep in our business as usual teams or our support teams are equipped with the right skills, training and knowledge to be able to support that new piece of technology.
I just had an observation based on Daniel's comment, and that resonates. This particularly resonates a lot with me. The whole persistence, because it's a marathon here. It's not a sprint. You're undergoing a major digital transformation project, and IATA released a joint BCG paper recently where they spoke about a number of reasons why some of these projects are not quite that successful. Some of them being unwillingness to adapt to new ways of working, and loss of power, loss of prestige. One of the bigger ones is CEO support, from the very top to, and I think you spoke a little bit about that, to drive that forward. And the other one was a notion of quick wins, enforcing or reinforcing that progress is being made, albeit slowly. But the whole idea of breaking it down, how do you eat an elephant, a bite at a time? So these little quick wins, giving motivation to keep the energy to drive forward.
Was there a question there? Sorry, Paul.
No, it's just it particularly resonates because
yes.
The whole human factor is so important in such a large digital transformation project, and often hugely underestimated.
I agree. Yes. Well, at the end of the day, there's people, there's process, there's technology, but the technology doesn't exist in the ether. It is still ultimately people who are powering that technology and making the difference. Yep.
Chanel has a question.
Hello, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, thank you for your presentation. So, I just had a question, because in practical terms, how do you strike the balance between individuals driving their own career path versus as an organization actually getting involved and walking that road with them? Curious.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think as a leader of people, obviously you need to be having regular conversations about what your people want, or where are they going with their careers in short term, medium, and long term. And it's not always the case that they're that an individual's career path can be driven within your organisation. So I think it's from just a people leader perspective, it's about having open and honest conversations about how you can help and what help your organisation can provide. There's always lots of opportunities for, job shares or, moving sideways, moving into different parts of the organisation. We have a lot of people within IT that will move between like commercial space or into operations or into digital. So there's lateral experience that people can get. But it is a fine balance, and I think it's on an individual by individual kind of conversation.
Thank you.
Going on to the last slide, I'm going to say, Paul Byrne, you must have pre-read my slides, because the next one is my lesson, my personal lesson that says it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So thank you for that little segue there. But yeah, I think it has been a kind of, the last 2 years has been a bit of a journey of self-discovery over the past 2 years, and I did learn that I'm not as resilient as I thought I was. And I've put a couple of pictures there. The top one is a favourite Far Side cartoon of mine, and pretty much every week I feel like sticking my hand up in a team meeting, going, "Please, my brain is full. I can't process any more information." And then I think I've likened the transformation journey to my team a few times, about like a roller coaster ride. And you can see from that picture, one guy, the dad, is like loving it. He's like, yeah, having a great time. And like the girl is just like, oh, get me off this thing. I don't quite like it. And I feel like the whole journey is, I'm flipping between the dad and the daughter like all the time. And so I think when I started out at Virgin, I had really high expectations on myself, and I have a tendency to have a bit of a perfectionist attitude, and was really, really hard on myself. I really wanted to make a difference, and long hours start to creep in. I set some boundaries for myself initially. I'm just going to work late one night a week, and then it was 2 nights a week, and then it's like nearly every night. And then you think, oh, I'm just going to have a glass of wine to de-stress, and then it's like, then you've had 2 glasses of wine and then a whole bottle, and then, oh, I can't cook, I can fit more work in if I just order takeaway, or go to bed later and get up later. And so fitness started to really be impacted there. But a couple of things happened early on, which is fortunate, that made me realize that going hard like this was not going to make me or my team or my organization more successful or get to the finish line any faster. We had some people within the organization who, under similar pressure, everyone is impacted by the pace of this, and taking leave of absence for stress. I gained unwanted kilos. My health was not where I wanted it to be. And then ultimately, the thing that really changed things for me was my father passed away. And that had a big impact on my mental health. And it made me just check myself and say, where am I going? Where am I going with this? Is this the right way to be living? Life is too short. And kind of just am I doing the right thing for myself and my family and my team? And I learned that, I guess, despite the pace being so fast, it is a long-term game. It is the marathon, and it is important to take care of your physical and mental health. Otherwise, you might not reach the finish line. And the biggest thing for me, I've always been really, felt like I'm independent. I can do this by myself. I don't need your help. And the biggest thing for me was learning to ask for help. And you'll be surprised that how many people, once you stick your hand up and go, hey, I need some help with this, or it's too much for me right now. And I've been surprised at how much help there is out there if you just ask, because nobody really knows what goes on inside or behind the scenes. And so it really is important to take care of yourself, stay healthy, eat well, exercise, get good sleep, I think is probably the biggest thing for me. Yeah. That's about it. I think I've almost used up all the time. So yeah, thank you.
A wonderful presentation. I'm totally amazed, and I think also the amount of questions was somehow the feedback on the content. And I think there is a question from Anne. Please, Anne, let's go to Sweden.
No,
again.
it's not a question. I just said, and that's where connections come into play. Knowing people. I just saved myself 2 hours of work by knowing the person who knows the answer to this question. So, connecting, meeting friends, knowing people all over, that matters so much and is so underestimated. And thank you for a fantastic presentation, Emma. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Anne.
Paul in Singapore.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. Yeah, Emma, great presentation, very informative. However, how are the users accepting this project, and are they as fully committed and involved as you would like, or do you sometimes see resistance specifically from users?
Yeah, when you say users, do you mean our customers or people internal to our organisation, or both?
Not passengers, people inside the industry, inside the company.
Inside the company. So we've had roughly about a 50% turnover of our staff through this transformation over the last 2 years. And I think that goes back to my point about transformation is not for everyone. Some people love the 9 to 5. I'm happy. I just want things to be the way they've always been. I'm comfortable. And, going back to the point around resistance to change. So there's always going to be a mix. We've certainly had a kind of 50-50 response to change and transformation. And that's been something that we've had to deal with and manage.
Are there any questions to Emma? So then, thank you very much, Emma, again. And I think what you were saying about staying healthy is the most important thing. So I wish you stay healthy and smart, positive, and upbeat. So I think spot on your presentation. And I will get back to you with what I mentioned earlier, that I have something for you for next week. Everybody else, please share the word about Ladies Beyond Flying. We are 926 members meanwhile, so 1,000 members is the next milestone we want to achieve in this year. I'm looking forward to having you next month, where we have a presentation from Air Baltic. And until we see each other, please stay healthy and safe, and talk to you soon again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
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 Thank you.